The scenery here in Vancouver, Washington, across the Columbia River from Portland is simply beautiful. A very appropriate setting for what's taking place here.
The whole story is a miracle story, really.
Heidi St. and husband Jay started their homeschooling venture about 20 years ago. What began as a small, humble homeschool ministry has now outgrown 2 locations thanks to a booming demand.
God just kept putting on our hearts, step forward in faith, and I will bring the people and the resources, and he's done that.
Boy, has he. When COVID hit, so did a rush of parents and their kids to the Homeschool Center, causing it to almost quadruple in size. A new building was needed to house the demand, but it carried a hefty price tag that only God could meet.
We didn't have $16 million. And so we took it to the Lord. And we at one point, actually several points along the way, we brought families over here to pray for the building. People walking the perimeter of this building, putting their hands on the bricks and just saying, Father, you see what's happening to your children. We need your help. We need your help.
And he showed up in a mighty way, enough money in full so they could move forward debt-free.
Nothing is impossible for God.
And so far, the miracle has led to this. Hundreds of students, close to 200 parent teachers, some who lost their jobs during COVID, a huge auditorium, coffee shop, bookstore, and of course, a couple hundred classrooms with everything from the basics to woodworking to dance. Instead of a regular school, it's more like a newer, bigger model of a homeschool co-op. This is about matching kids' interests with parents' teaching expertise so students can have more light bulb moments. Ultimately, it's about community.
When you're around people that are amongst the same mindset as you, it just, it emboldens you and it makes you just, it validates that I'm not alone.
So why was this homeschool miracle needed in the first place? Well, today's culture, especially in the Pacific Northwest, is the main catalyst, and the students understand what's happening.
The public school system is having a really hard time right now, and they're teaching a lot of things that are not true and things that kids should not be taught.
And the numbers back that up, showing Americans losing faith in public schools. A Gallup poll reveals an all-time low of just 26% of Americans who have a great deal of confidence in them. A separate poll shows that nearly half of parents who homeschool their children believe public school systems are influenced by too much liberal and woke culture viewpoints.
You would never pack your child a sack lunch and send them to the front lines of a literal war. You would never do that. And yet every single day, we give hundreds of thousands of students sack lunches. We pat them on the head and we put them on little yellow school buses and they take them to the front lines of the culture war.
Parents here in Washington understand what's at stake.
If they get the hearts and minds of the children, then they can run the country. We've seen years of indoctrination already.
The St. John's know firsthand that the homeschool plunge can be daunting.
I was the mom who was like, what woman in her right mind, right, would want to stay home with their kids for 18 years when a yellow bus come taken away for free, right?
But then they saw the effect on their child at the time, which led to prayer and a conversation.
And I'm kind of leaning over him, wake up, wake up. And he woke up. I said, what would you think if we homeschooled our kids? And you remember what you said?
I said, who are you? What have you done with my wife?
All kidding aside, it's a rough road.
It is a hard venture. We're not, we know that it's tough. But everything that has value costs something. And so if it was easy, it probably wouldn't be valuable.
Parents of public school kids definitely have concerns about what their kids are experiencing. So maybe there are other ways to fight the good fight.
They will say, well, look, what if I volunteer at the PTA? What if I run for school board? What if I try to make a difference there in the secular world?
Yes, we do advocate people get in the school board. We do advocate that Christians teach in public school. We just don't see how it's going to be saved.
They hope this model they've created here in the Pacific Northwest will be the way forward across the country.
This does seem like a model that could be modeled around the country in all different places.
Absolutely. We're contacted every week by people asking, how do we do what you're doing?
We're building Noah's Ark, Noah's educational ark, and we're saying get out of the waters of woke, get out of these broken schools. If God can do it here in the Pacific Northwest, then he can do it anywhere.
For those who want to homeschool and build community, the St. John's are a model for what can happen and how God can work. David Brody, CBN News, in Vancouver, Washington.